Hello, welcome to UMATA. I'm G-Man here in Florida. Who matters? UMATA. Today we're going to talk about a subject called what in your life is bothering you. Whoa, what in your life is bothering you? Big subject. That's actually a pretty loaded question. A lot of things can bother people. And I'm not talking about like day-to-day stuff. I understand traffic is BS. I understand people's food gets ordered wrong. I understand weather can be annoying. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the things in your life that are bothering you in your heart and in your soul that need to be addressed and are not. Not necessarily because you're a bad person or anything, though I would have to say that maybe in some cases you are being a little lazy. So we're here to talk about what's bothering you. And what I mean by that are the things that are going on in your life that you subconsciously know you need to be fixing, that you're not. The one thing that really, I went and did some work actually with a therapist, and it was actually, there's many different types of therapists. This was actually a past life regression therapist at one point, because some things were coming up in my life, and I just knew that this was an area of therapy that I wanted to have and needed deep in my heart. But I put it off for years. At one point I used to live in Scottsdale, Arizona for a little bit. And I met this woman that was a very interesting woman. She specialized in matching people spiritually for marriage. And she had a pretty interesting clientele. And she had this big house on this horse ranch up in North Scottsdale. And I was in a situation where I met up with her at one point for work, and she said, "Kid, I see promise in you, but something's really wrong. Something is making you really sad, and it's in your aura, and it's something about a past life." And she said, "You need to find a therapist immediately and go over it, because at the time that this other previous trauma was going on in your past life, you're roughly the same age that it was happening in the other life." And it's actually a really interesting story that I can go into, because I got the answers to it through therapy and hypnotic therapy. I can go into the answers to that later in another video. But what ended up happening at the end of that whole message, or that whole story, is that I really did end up doing the past life regression therapy. And the funny thing is that what came out was knowledge and information that I knew and here was true for years that I put off. And I talked to a therapist about that a lot. And there's a lot of stuff about how your higher self and your energy knows what's right and wrong. But it can't say it in English to you, to your brain, because it's in another dimension. But it can kind of push and tug on your chest a little bit. And it reminds you very subtly every day, hey, this isn't right. Your drinking's becoming a problem. Your drug addiction's becoming a problem. You're not spending enough time with your kids. You're not in the right job. Over and over and over, it tells you that. And what I found out from therapy is that not only is that urge correct, it is more correct than you can imagine, because your brain's turned off to it. So I wanted to talk about what's bothering you. Whenever there's something that's going on in your life and it's bothering you, that is your higher self saying, hey, you are not in this area, in this subject matter, you're not going in the direction you came to Earth to go on in this area. You have to listen to that. And it's not like a self-doubt thing. I actually think that the reason where a lot of people get this screwed up is just because there's a lot of intelligence and information about the afterworld and spirituality that just isn't really talked about or known on our planet just yet in this current state of time. Other religions try to move past it, or they don't really acknowledge it. And the ones that do try to talk too much about it, not too much about it, but there are like Buddhists and stuff that try to talk about past lives and stuff. I do think they're more correct about this area than most. The problem is that you're really talking about some interesting stuff that we just as a species haven't had in our civilization for a long time, if at all, ever. And so there just isn't a large understanding of this, and people are slowly coming around to understanding this type of stuff. But it's really important to acknowledge that there's more truth to this than you can imagine. And if you just want to go just on faith or just spiritual intuition, that's good enough. The whole point is that whatever is bothering you is a spiritual energy connection with you, yourself, higher self, Jesus, God, whoever. Doesn't matter. All you need to know is that it is so real and more real than you can think or understand. And you have to listen to it. So when you go about your day, and you can tell when I hear, like, there's this comedian I was watching on YouTube the other day, and he was talking about his weight, and you could clearly tell his weight was bothering him. And he's like, man, I just feel like I have these problems. Like I just don't feel good about myself. That's the spirit. Like, he tries, and then he does okay, and then he fails. He tries, he does okay, then he fails. And after he fails, the spirit's like, hey man, you haven't figured it out yet. Now, unfortunately, a lot of people, just because life is difficult, it's not easy, never always fully successfully accomplish that stuff. And you can't do everything in life. You know, I would say there's like 20 things I'd like to be better at or whatever, or improve on, but I gotta acknowledge I only got like 30, 50 years left on this planet, and then I'm getting taken out, dog. So I myself have to be practical and go, you know, I can really only maybe do 2 to 5 big things in my life that I want to work on before I die, because I'm just going to run out of time. But the whole key of this video is to listen to what's bothering you. If it's bothering you, it's a problem. And if it's bothering you and it's a problem, it means you are not where you need to be right now, and you need to course correct. You need to listen to it. You got to listen to what's bothering you, because it's very real. It's not superstitious. It's literally everyone in the other veil and your higher being telling you, hey, this is real. You're on the mark. You're getting it, dude. You're right. But you're not doing what you need to do. And they're yelling and screaming. Not really, but they're being very vocal on the other side, trying to say, hey, man, listen. Don't be like the other people and not act on it. You need to listen to what's bothering you. I'm UMATA. Like, comment, subscribe.